Have you struggled with setting boundaries in the workplace? Don't worry, I have too, and you are definitely not alone. Setting boundaries in education can be tricky because we care a lot about people and we want the best for our students and colleagues. But without boundaries, it could lead us to feeling overwhelmed, compassion fatigue, or burnout. Hi, I'm Caitlin Daniel, host and creator of Sci-Fi Your Leadership. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about setting boundaries in education. We'll be answering questions like what is a boundary, how to know you need one, and 3 practices you can start using today. Let's get started. After an interaction in the workplace, have you ever found yourself feeling upset, angry, annoyed, or resentful? And do those feelings keep coming up with similar interactions? If so, these feelings could be our brain's way of telling us that someone has just crossed one of our boundaries or that we need to set a boundary. And we use the term boundaries a lot, but what exactly do we mean by that? So let's define it. A boundary is often defined as placing physical and emotional limitations on certain situations that will support your needs, health, and well-being. Remember, the practice of setting boundaries is not about controlling the behaviors or reactions of others. Rather, healthy boundary setting is about communicating to others what you are or are not going to engage in. Boundaries are the ultimate form of self-care. The boundaries we incorporate really start with what we can control, which is our own behaviors and interactions. Remember, boundaries should never be used to control, manipulate, or punish others. We can't control events that are happening, and we can't control other people's behaviors. We also can't control how others are going to react to the boundaries we're trying to implement. Instead, boundaries are designed to serve us, to protect us from feeling overwhelmed, overextended, and being harmed in the workplace. As people working in education, boundaries are a crucial part of our self-care plan, and we don't talk about it enough. Technological changes has made leaders and educators constantly available to students, parents, and other staff members. When you can be reached via email, text, phone call, or any other communication app, it can be difficult to transition away from your working hours. The world is always on, but you don't have to be. Also, when we care deeply about our students and staff in this profession, we can easily get emotionally entangled in their experiences and feelings. Therefore, it is beneficial to identify, set, and clearly communicate boundaries. That way you can protect your health and well-being while at work. So, how can we start setting boundaries today, even when you don't know where to start? Practice number 1, identify your needs. The key to setting boundaries is to identify what your needs are and how a boundary could increase your sense of agency and protect your emotional energy while at work. To increase this level of awareness, start by identifying specific behaviors or situations and how they make you feel. For example, if you have a specific situation that induces increased and persistent feelings of overwhelm, anxiousness, or being overworked, this could indicate that you need to set a new boundary. Next, identify what elements are in your control and something that you could change about how you engage in that situation. The goal of this practice is to increase your level of awareness and identify how certain behaviors and situations make you feel. When we identify how we feel, this could help us acknowledge our limitations and brainstorm more effective boundaries that we can incorporate into the workplace that will support our mental health. Practice number 2 is to start small. So now that you've identified where you need a boundary, the next step is to practice implementing and communicating that boundary to others. Many of us, including myself, find this difficult to do in the workplace. So whether you're a leader trying to communicate with their team or a teacher talking with their principal, this process is intimidating, which is why practice number 2 is to start small. From the list that you created in practice number 1, brainstorm a boundary that you feel will support your well-being and keep you thriving in the workplace. Start with only 1 or 2 new boundaries to practice right now. And to keep it even more simple, you can practice this new boundary with only 1 or 2 new people before trying it out on a whole team or with students in the classroom. What do you think is a good boundary to have when you work in a school system? I would love to hear your thoughts, so please be sure to leave your answers in the comments below. And lastly, with setting boundaries, consistency is key, which is why practice number 3 is to be consistent. Identifying a boundary is the easy part. It is being consistent in practicing that boundary that can often be a challenge. So think of setting boundaries as learning a new habit. You are going to deviate from it from time to time, because we're all human and things come up with work and life. But when this happens, it is important to resume practicing your boundaries as soon as you're able to. Remember, the goal of setting boundaries is that it can help conserve our emotional energy and increase our level of confidence and agency in the workplace, especially when we set boundaries in unpredictable or chaotic environments. Now, you may be wondering why boundaries matter so much for educators and leaders working in school systems. Well, without healthy boundaries, we could quickly find ourselves struggling with our mental health and with limited time to take action. Therefore, doing these 3 practices will help you begin early and start small. I want you to ease into this process. That way you can start supporting your mental health today so that you can be there for someone else tomorrow. All right, if you want to see more educational mental health content for school leadership, please subscribe to join our amazing community here on YouTube. We have videos releasing weekly every Tuesday. Until next time, happy practicing, take care.